Good morning. My name is Joe Poor with Pauly Jail Building Company, and on behalf of my brother Bob and all the wonderful people from Pauly Jail and all the manufacturers that support our team, we want to welcome everybody to the training seminar today in Indianapolis. We're going to kick off the seminar today. We have the Lieutenant Governor from the great state of Indiana is here. Lieutenant Governor Suzanne Crouch, and I'll give you a little bit of a background information on Suzanne. She's a proud lifelong resident of Evansville, where she lives with her husband, Larry Downs. She was elected Lieutenant Governor in 2016 and previously served as Indiana's state auditor. Before assuming that role, she was elected in 2005 as state representative for parts of Vanderburgh and Warwick counties. Prior to serving as a state representative, Suzanne spent 8 years as auditor of Vanderburgh County. During that time, her office received its first clean bill of health in decades from the State Board of Accounts. She then went on to serve as Vanderburgh County Commissioner until joining the House. As Lieutenant Governor, Suzanne oversees a portfolio that includes the Indiana State Department of Agriculture, Indiana Housing and Community Development Authority, Office of Defense Development, Office of Community and Rural Affairs, and Office of Tourism Development. In addition, she also serves as president of the Indiana Senate and chair of the Indiana Counterterrorism and Security Council. Suzanne received her bachelor's degree from Purdue University, majoring in political science. So let's have a great round of applause for our Lieutenant Governor from the state of Indiana.
Good morning. Good morning. All right, it's so great to be here, and isn't this weather incredible? If it was just this way every single day of the year, we'd all be happy. Well, let me start by saying welcome to Indianapolis. This is kind of my second home. I have an apartment. I live here in Indianapolis during the week, and then I travel every weekend to Evansville because that's my hometown and that's where my husband is, and he wasn't moving. So I certainly travel the state and appreciate the work that you all do. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Governor Holcomb and I appreciate your service and want to thank you for your contributions to keeping your counties safe and the citizens and Hoosiers in Indiana also safe. So thank you for that. It's my life's greatest honor to serve as the 52nd Lieutenant Governor of the great state of Indiana and a partner to our Governor Eric Holcomb. And when I was a young girl growing up in Evansville, I never dreamt that my life's journey would bring me to this point. I didn't grow up in a political home, but my parents raised me with good values, and they instilled in me principles that define me even to today. They raised me to believe in God, to believe it takes hard work to get ahead. They raised me to believe in equality and opportunity, not equality of outcome, and to believe in personal responsibility, but to readily accept that I have a responsibility to help others who are less fortunate. And while my role over the years has changed, those guiding principles have remained the same. It's why I so often quote our 16th President of the United States, Abraham Lincoln, because he so well articulates my philosophy. Abraham Lincoln said that government should do for people only what they cannot do better for themselves and no more. And I try to live by this philosophy. We must fight the problems of too much and inefficient government. We must deliver services efficiently and cost effectively to those that need them. But we must always measure our progress not by the amount of assistance we give people, but by the number of people we get off of assistance and back on their own 2 feet. And here in Indiana, we're doing just that. As the result of 13 years of fiscal conservative leadership, Indiana's economy is strong and it is getting stronger. And allow me to share a few statistics with you. Indiana leads the country in advanced manufacturing. Indiana's tech sector is the second fastest growing tech sector in the country. We are number 1 in the Midwest. We're 5th in the nation for our business environment. We have the third best infrastructure in the country. And we're one of only 12 states that has a AAA credit bond rating by all 3 independent rating agencies. So these are great achievements, but they cannot be credited to government alone. Government may light a path, but it is you, the hardworking men and women who are taking the risk and making the sacrifices that have put our state on a path to prosperity. Session ended not that long ago, and as was mentioned, I am president of the Senate. And so when we're in session, I stand at a podium like this and I conduct the Senate. And I can only share with you that as a former state representative for 8 years, it is so gratifying to finally be in charge of the senators. And I remember everyone that voted against my bills. But seriously, when I became Lieutenant Governor, I was so energized by the clarity and the focus of Governor Holcomb's Next Level agenda. And our Next Level agenda is centered on enriching people's lives. It lays out 5 pillars that put people first: strengthening our economy, investing in our infrastructure, creating a 21st century workforce, fighting the drug epidemic, and then delivering great government service at a great taxpayer value. These policies are about investing in people because all of us in this room want others to enjoy the same opportunities that we've had. So our first pillar, strengthening our economy, we are competing and we are winning every single day because we are sending the right message to employers here in Indiana and abroad. And it is this message that is resonating here in Indiana with our thriving economy. Last year, the Indiana Economic Development Corporation created 30,000 new jobs in Indiana, breaking all records. And this year, they're on track to create 35,000 more new jobs. Our unemployment here in Indiana is 3.2%, a welcome statistic and well below the national average. But it has resulted in 85,000 jobs unfilled today in Indiana. For the first time since 2006, the National Federation of Independent Business Survey indicated that small businesses' number one concern is not less tax and fewer regulations. The number one challenge that small businesses are facing is finding qualified workers. We have an opportunity to skill up our unemployed and our underemployed, and we're working on that. But that still is not going to be enough. We have to attract workers to Indiana, and we have an opportunity to do that with our Next Level Veterans Initiative, which I chair. Every year, 200,000 men and women leave the military. A third of them will go somewhere other than their base or their home state. Half of them will face a period of unemployment. So this initiative is focused on recruiting those military men and women, pairing them up with employers, and then assimilating them into Indiana communities that they can call home. Because we want to welcome those employable service men and women to Indiana for our workforce and to our communities. Now, our fourth pillar I want to touch upon because it's one that affects you all and you deal with it every single day. It's fighting the drug epidemic. 1 out of 5 Hoosiers suffer from mental illness or are facing drug and alcohol addiction issues. And there's probably not a one of us in this room today who does not know a family, perhaps our own, who are facing these challenges. And you know that this issue impacts every socioeconomic and age group. Businesses are seeing people test positive at work, or people can't get jobs because they can't pass drug tests. And you see it on a daily basis. But by combining resources and collaborating on investigations, you all through your law enforcement agencies and working with your local communities, are fighting and working to create a quality of life that pushes back and fights against those drugs that are entering into our communities. At the state level, legislation was passed last year that increases our treatment centers, that also increases the penalties for those that are dealing and manufacturing drug, and then expand our INSPEC system, which monitors opioid prescriptions. But none of us are going to do it alone. This issue, this problem, this challenge is so big that it is going to take all of us working on the state, local, and federal level if we're going to beat this evil substance and push back the people that are selling and dealing drugs. And that's kind of one of the reasons I suspect you all are here today, because you see that this epidemic is tearing families and tearing communities apart. And while you all, law enforcement officers, are fighting back, this epidemic is contributing to the overcrowding of our jails. And that is why this type and these types of seminars are so terribly important, because it brings people together and it has everyone collaborating and working together on a common issue. And with House and Road Act 1263, counties have been given the flexibility to adopt ordinances to impose taxes for correctional facilities and rehabilitation centers, and that's one little tiny step. There are so many others that need to be taken, and that's why you're here, and that's why Governor Holcomb and I want to work with you. So we, in Indiana, we're well on our way to taking our state to the next level. But if we are sincere in our commitment to creating a legacy of excellence in the state, we must take all Hoosiers to the next level, including those with disabilities, those with mental illness, and those fighting drug and alcohol addiction. And then and only then will we truly be able to measure our success as a state. Abraham Lincoln said that the best way to predict your future is to create it. And we have an opportunity in this state to create a better future for Hoosiers through the Intellectual and Developmental Disability Task Force that I chair. We're working on a 10-year comprehensive plan to support and promote individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Because you see, our friends with disabilities are just merely our friends with different abilities. They have the same dreams as every other Hoosier. They want to have friends, have a job, be loved, and be successful in life, and we have an opportunity to do that for them. So while we should all take great pride in what we have accomplished, we cannot rest on our laurels. We must continue to challenge and dare ourselves to build a better tomorrow for future generations. And it must be a tomorrow that provides even greater opportunities than we ourselves could realize. And so in closing, what I really want to remind you of is what is truly great about Indiana are her people. You in this room today, Hoosiers all across Indiana, hard-working men and women who know that when we come together and we work together, we can achieve great success. And in Indiana, our pioneering spirit is still alive and well because as Hoosiers, we work hard, we're independent, and we understand what really matters. And just as you work day in and day out, serving your communities, keeping them safe for your citizens, Governor Holcomb and I want to work alongside you so that we can take our state to the next level. So thank you again for all that you do for your communities, your counties, and our state. And God bless you. Thank you.